What if the gods of old are real, clashing with modern deities in a brutal war for humanity's belief? The series begins with the ancient world ruled by Odin, the supreme god of Northern Europe. But as mankind evolves, new gods emerge to steal human faith, leading to an inevitable conflict. The new gods approach the goddess of dawn, Ostara, trying to lure her to their side, but she remains loyal to Odin. When the new gods surround her, Odin appears in a blaze of fury, striking them down with lightning, igniting the war between old and new. Meanwhile, ex-convict Shadow Moon meets Odin, disguised as Mr. Wednesday, in a tavern, discussing strategies against the new gods when Mad Sweeney, an Irish leprechaun, subordinate to Odin, bursts in with his legendary lucky coin that can resurrect the dead. Shadow, grieving his recently deceased wife Laura, desperately wants the coin, but Sweeney teases him with fakes until Shadow punches him and grabs what he thinks is an ordinary coin, tossing it onto Laura's grave where it sinks in mysteriously. On his way back, Shadow encounters a glowing device that pulls him into a virtual realm controlled by the god of technology, who interrogates him about Odin's plans. But Shadow resists, enduring a savage beating from faceless minions before a mysterious force rescues him. Don't forget to subscribe to great animation recaps to help us grow and bring more epic fantasy content like this. Your support keeps these stories alive. Shadow confronts Odin about the near-death attack, furious that the new gods targeted him so viciously. But Odin, undeterred, decides to rally the ancient gods for war, starting with a trip to Chicago to recruit old allies like the Zariah sisters and Czernobog, the god of darkness. They arrive bearing gifts, but Czernobog, once Odin's fierce general now retired to a quiet life, rejects the call to arms, chasing Odin away initially. Over dinner hosted by the Zariah sisters, Odin persuades Czernobog to gamble with Shadow in a high-stakes chess game. If Shadow wins, Czernobog joins the fight. If he loses, Czernobog smashes his skull with a dark hammer. Shadow, panicked by the hammer's ominous aura, plays poorly and loses, sealing his fate for Dawn's execution. Meanwhile, Sweeney faces his own misfortunes after losing the lucky coin, getting kicked out of a bar by a fierce innkeeper who shoots at him, then hitching a ride with a kind driver, only for a freak accident to impale the driver with steel pipes from a blown tire, leaving Sweeney suspicious that his bad luck stems from the missing coin, which he traces back to Shadow. On a rooftop under the stars, Shadow meets Zariah Polunoknaya, the youngest sister with prophetic abilities, who senses his impending death and offers to save him in exchange for a kiss, her first ever from a man. She plucks the moon from the sky, transforming it into a protective coin that she gifts him, insisting he never lose it as it holds his life. Shadow awakens believing it a dream, but the coin is real in his hand, empowering him to challenge Czernobog to another chess match using provocative taunts to lure the dark god into agreeing. With the moon coin's luck, Shadow wins decisively, forcing Czernobog to join Odin's cause and head to Wisconsin for the brewing war. To celebrate, Odin treats Shadow to a feast, but Sweeney interrupts, demanding his lucky coin back, leading Shadow to reveal he buried it with Laura. Sweeney rushes to the grave, digging up the coffin only to find Laura's body gone, resurrected by the coin's power, and she immediately sets out to find Shadow, spotting him in peril from the faceless gods and saving him with superhuman strength before hiding away, disgusted by her undead state. Laura seeks refuge with her best friend Audrey, who initially panics thinking she's a zombie, but calms down and helps reattach her severed arm, lending her a car to pursue Shadow. At the same time, Shadow and Odin are arrested for bank fraud, detained in a police station where the goddess of media appears, followed by Mr. World, the leader of the new gods, who apologizes for the earlier assault and proposes a merger between old and new deities. Odin scoffs at the idea, refusing to equate their ancient power with modern upstarts, enraging the god of technology, who suggests killing them, only to be rebuked and punished with knocked-out teeth by the media goddess. Mr. World cryptically mentions waiting in room 204 before leaving, and as Odin and Shadow exit, they discover the station massacred, with officers dead and a tree goblin stabbing Shadow, who flees in agony, unaware of a strange eye watching from the wall, hinting at an even older entity lurking in the shadows. In a grim factory town devoted to the fire god Vulcan, a worker falls into a molten furnace during a routine accident, and the company holds a twisted funeral where everyone fires guns skyward in celebration of the sacrifice, all under Vulcan's command. Odin and Shadow arrive to recruit him, but bullets rain down on their car, sparing the gods but riddling the vehicle, proving Vulcan's influence. Vulcan invites them home, agreeing to forge Odin a divine sword after a tense conversation laced with veiled threats, revealing his preference for modern weapons over ancient crafts. As the sword is completed with thousands of hammer strikes, Vulcan admits joining the new gods for neutrality and prosperity. But Odin, betrayed, slashes his neck with the new blade and kicks him into the furnace, then urinates into it to curse him eternally, horrifying Shadow, who witnesses Odin's ruthless side for the first time. Sweeney confronts Laura at her hideout, spotting his lucky coin inside her body and attempting to strangle it out, but she overpowers him with undead strength, breaking his finger and declaring the coin hers. Desperate, Sweeney offers fake coins in exchange, but Laura sees through the trick. Knowing removal means her death, so he proposes resurrecting her fully to reclaim it without harm. Meanwhile, Odin visits Ostar's estate during her Easter feast to rally her, lying that the new gods killed Vulcan to stoke her anger, while Shadow overhears and grapples with Odin's manipulative nature. Laura and Sweeney arrive seeking Ostara's revival magic, but she detects divine interference in Laura's death, forcing Sweeney to confess Odin's role in orchestrating it, shattering Laura's illusions, just as the new gods invade to recruit Ostara themselves. Tensions erupt as Odin refuses to let the new gods succeed, but Mr. World appears, declaring the old era over and urging surrender. Odin, enraged, summons storm clouds and strikes down subordinates with lightning, revealing his true identity as the god of war to Shadow and commanding Ostara to unleash her spring power, withering the land in a display of might that stuns Shadow. In a shocking twist, Laura calls out, confronting her husband amid the chaos. Elsewhere, the god of technology uses a paperclip to access a secret U.S. military base controlled by Mr. World, activating the all-seeing Argus system to track Odin, signaling the new god's fury and technological edge in the escalating war. Odin and his allies head to Wisconsin's House on the Rock for a summit of ancient gods. Greeted by a leprechaun who warns of the Queen of Sheba's arrival, a seductive deity Odin distrusts for her new god ties, but she asserts her ancient desert origins predating him, forcing her inclusion with a coin toss. The gods board a carousel that spins into a portal under Odin's incantation, transporting them to his memory realm where they reveal true forms in a grand temple. Anansi the spider god rails against racism from colonial invasions to modern times. Vowing war, Czernobog hungers for blood with his hammer, but Kali advocates patience, believing new gods will fade naturally. The Queen of Sheba counters, warning of Mr. World's underestimated power and urging immediate action to avoid destruction, her words swaying the assembly. Shadow interrupts the debate with an impassioned speech, vouching for Odin's leadership in restoring faith when he himself was broken, inspiring the gods to unite behind Odin, igniting his power in flames. They return to reality for a celebration, but Laura warns Shadow not to trust Odin, hinting at deeper betrayals just as Odin pulls him away. Unbeknownst to them, the Queen of Sheba activates her phone's location as a spy, summoning a remote assassin who fires death-marked bullets, killing several gods, including Odin's former lover, the Sun Goddess, leaving him heartbroken and the scene in chaos as Shadow fights the assassin hand-to-hand. The assassin detonates a device, sucking Shadow into space, while Czernobog curses the new gods and Laura watches helplessly. Flashbacks reveal Shadow's tragic past. As a young man, jealous thugs beat him savagely. His overworked mother dies of liver cancer without treatment funds. A mysterious man, Odin, promises divine aid if he prays, but prayers fail, turning Shadow atheist. Awakened by electric torture from the city god, Shadow refuses to betray Odin's plans, loyal for the life Odin gave him when he had nothing, even as he's nearly hanged. Devastated by the sun goddess's death, Odin vows to retrieve the eternal spear Gungnir to counter the new gods, while Sweeney and Laura continue their uneasy alliance. If you're Shadow caught between resurrected love and godly wars, what would you do? Tell me in the comments below. Back in the fray, Odin forges ahead, Laura's undead strength shattering guards as Odin crashes his car into the train in explosive sacrifice, seemingly killing Laura too, but Shadow survives miraculously. Mr. World upgrades the goddess of communication to merge with Argus for total surveillance dominance, but Odin's crows expose the plan. Odin negotiates with decaying Laura to assassinate Argus in exchange for recharging her coin, leading her to a wasteland memory where he sacrifices Zeus's lover cow for a god-killing dagger. Laura stabs Argus during fusion, repelling the communication goddess and restoring her vitality, though Odin refuses her continued company. Mr. World, in rage, spares the failing god of technology after he promises a superior Silicon Valley network, but seals him eternally in his own tech ball when betrayed. Odin nurtures a world tree seedling to repair broken Gungnir, granting the spear to Shadow as war nears. Sweeney warns Shadow he's merely Odin's tool, recounting his own tragic past as a light god betrayed by Odin's clone scheme, vowing revenge. Shadow defends Odin fiercely, leading to a brutal duel where Sweeney stabs at Odin with the spear, but Shadow instinctively kills Sweeney instead, transforming the weapon into useless sunlight treasure. New gods frame Shadow and Odin as killers via media control, forcing them to flee as FBI surrounds their hideout. Vines of the World Tree pulling Shadow into visions, revealing Odin as his father and lifelong manipulator. If you're Shadow, betrayed by the father who saved you only to sacrifice you, what would you do? Stay loyal or break free? Tell me in the comments. Odin enjoys luxury while Shadow works quietly in Milwaukee. But Odin reappears disguised as an old woman, manipulating circumstances to force Shadow back. They evade new god ambushes by entering local god territories where ancient grudges surface. Odin borrowing money from war god Tyr, who secretly plots revenge for lost throne, hand, and love. Shadow attends the sun goddess's funeral, tricked by Odin, learning from Zariah of two brutal future choices. Mr. World, now female and volatile, pressures the god of technology to seduce Queen of Sheba, but she refuses neutrality, forcing him into her traumatic war memories that shatter him. Laura sacrifices her coin to revive Sweeney, writing vengeance instructions before dying, but resurrection potion mishaps revive her, instead through Sweeney's blood, awakening her love. Shadow rescues Queen of Sheba from Mr. World's imprisonment, her repentance awakening full powers to defeat guards. Odin secures Tyr's funds despite hatred, but Tyr slaughters Odin's followers in revenge, luring him to the Wolf's Den, where Fenrir's chain history unfolds. Tyr drugs and captures Shadow, battling Odin in epic combat until Shadow intervenes, allowing Odin to slay Tyr, praising Shadow's growing ruthlessness. In Lakeside, Shadow uncovers the town's annual child sacrifice to Odin for prosperity, confronting the local goddess who reveals her pact. Shadow stabs her with a bloody dagger during confrontation, ending the curse as souls rise from the lake. Laura reunites, demanding Odin's location for revenge, stunned by Shadow's paternity revelation before departing. Laura allies with disguised Mr. World for Odin's address, retrieving Gungnir from Ireland's Doyle, with Sweeney's coin as payment, mastering its use. Odin feigns peace negotiations with new gods, enraging Czernobog, who vows solo war. Laura ambushes with a spear, but Doyle saves her from Czernobog's hammer as new gods retreat her. Odin dies pierced by Gungnir, Ravens informing Shadow, who rushes to the atheism-neutral hotel for funeral rites. Mr. World betrays Laura as Odin's killer, but she exposes his orchestration. Czernobog hammers futilely in restrained power as funeral proceeds. Shadow volunteers 9 days tied to the world tree guarding Odin per Norse tradition, enduring Norn's supervision and life water cleansing. Czernobog mocks his fragility, but Shadow persists through scorching sun, starvation, visions of slavery, racism, and Odin's manipulations. On day 5, Snow nourishes him as abilities awaken, teleporting to Odin's clone, revealing the sacrifice plan. Shadow's death on the tree restores Odin's peak power. Shadow weeps at betrayal as the tree swallows him, Odin's body vanishing, seemingly succeeding. Queen of Sheba finds Shadow's soul, preventing death. The god of technology, empowered by civilization's origin stone, evolves but remains Mr. World's, Loki's tool, imprisoned for failures. Ancient gods prepare Odin's body at the World Tree Core. Shadow's trial supervised by Norns, watering Yggdrasil. Vines bind him, suspending him in agony as gods watch. Days blur in torment, heat blisters, hunger gnaws, visions assault with childhood bull Odin, slave fields, betrayal truths. Laura, revived and vengeful, scatters Sweeney's ashes in grief before pursuing Odin alone. But Doyle returns spear and coin, honoring her persistence. Czernobog swings hammer in rooftop fury, rejecting Odin's peace facade as faith fades without war. Mr. World schemes Laura's handover to old gods for chaos, but she escapes vents, overhearing betrayal. Shadow, bound, hallucinates Laura's silhouette, urging survival. Stars guiding as Zariah promised. 5th day snowstorm buries him, spiritual realm showing oppressed souls needing his leadership against enduring injustice. Odin clone confesses lifelong grooming for sacrifice. Teeth from Tyr's collection offered as tribute. World tree attacks intensify, Shadow's demigod heritage flaring in resistance. Ravens circle as Odin's corpse disappears, gods believing plan complete, but Queen of Sheba intervenes, locating Shadow's essence amid void. As Shadow's body hangs lifeless yet enduring, visions cascade. Childhood dreams of the fiery bull recognizing him, immigrant gods fading under modern indifference, Anansi stories of unbroken resistance, Ostara's withered fields blooming in defiance, and unbreakable human defiance amid divine machinations. And that's the wild, epic ride of American gods. Betrayals, resurrections, godly wars, and one man's shattering journey through it all. If this recap gripped you with its twists, gods, and brutal drama, smash that like button, subscribe to Great Animation Recaps, and turn on notifications to be first for every new fantasy breakdown. Drop a comment with your favorite god or wildest moment, and binge our playlist for more mind-blowing recaps right now.